When I'm walking down the street.
I do want to say to Doni and many of you in this room that over a very long career in this city, all of you have helped me and my colleagues tell the truth and to try to tell.
I may not look like you and you me, but
my head up.
I'm South Carolina, so I just
What does this event mean to you, Miss Peggy Moss?
Oh, my heart.
Happy 20th anniversary.
My heart is about loving up on my sisters. Do you know what it feels like to have your sisters in the room? Done.
And dare to be different and unique. I'm gonna be the best me I can be by letting His glory shine through. I am beautiful, I am blessed, but not just what you see in the flesh. I'm free from people, free from myself.
The doctor lived next door to the janitor, to the reverend, and the lawyer. We were together. Now we get so high and mighty that you create stress for your society because you don't like poor black folks either. That's a health problem. Get yourself together so I can stop being taking care of geriatric people and get back to pediatrics. I thank you, Doni, for all you've done. Let's keep doing it for all the more.
Letting His glory shine through. Dare to be you, dare to be me, dare to be different and unique. I'm gonna be the best me I can be by letting His glory shine through. And I dare you, I dare you, I dare you to be you.
First name's Doni, last name's Glover. In it to win it for the long haul, baby. January 10th, 10 days into the new year. And I must tell you, and I was just thinking to myself, I have the best job in the whole wide world. Doing what I love to do and enjoying doing it and getting paid to do it. What a beautiful thing. Hallelujah. Thank the good Lord for another day. Thank you for no hurt, harm, or danger coming to us. And thank you also, Lord, for helping me to find my purpose. Have you found your purpose? Everybody has a purpose. Everybody has a gift. Some people have more than one gift. And it is our job to find our gifts, nurture those gifts, and share those gifts. So on that note, I want to tell you that our guest today is Dr. Eric Kelly, a very brilliant man down in North Carolina. That's one of the beautiful things about this. I don't even call it a job. This mission that I have. I get to meet people from all over, from East Baltimore to East Africa, from North Baltimore to North Carolina. Brilliant people, many of whom are black, African American, indigenous, whatever you want to call us. Don't call me colored, though. I think that's played out. I wrote a book, 2015. It's called Unapologetically Black. It is about the interrelationship of business and politics. You can have all of the black politicians in the world, but if it doesn't equate to development dollars being brought back to your community, then you're wasting your damn time. That's me at the White House. Pretty picture, right? Okay, 2015 is available on Amazon. And then 6 years later, I wrote I Am Black Wall Street. I wanted to know, how did those people get to Oklahoma? Because Oklahoma back then was Indian territory. It wasn't even a state. They called it Indian territory. How did those black people get to Oklahoma? And what you'll find is two heroes in this book, one black and one white. The black one is Chief John Horse, and the white one is John Brown. For more, pick up a copy. It's a short read, 98 pages. Well documented. Sources have been cited. Both available on Amazon. Unapologetically Black and I Am Black Wall Street. Because at the end of the day, black people have $1.5, $1.6 trillion in annual disposable income. And that equates to roughly the 16th largest economy on planet Earth. And so even though we're only 13% of this country's population, even though they try to throw everything at us from underemployment to undereducation to mass incarceration, we are a dynamic people. And to help further enunciate this point, we're going to bring up the one and only Dr. Eric Kelly III, artist, businessman, communicator, organizer. Hell, Marcus Garvey might have to watch out. You know, Marcus Garvey organized the largest group of Black people in the world. But we got Dr. Eric Kelly in 2024. Welcome back to the show. I can't hear you. What happened to your mic? Oh, man. No audio. What you do? You got to fix that. I don't know what to tell you. Well, while he gets that pulled together, we just want to talk about it, that we have enough money to fix any situation in our community, whether it's schools, whether it's the recidivism rate. You know, this country incarcerates more people than any country on earth. America, with 5% of the world's population, but we have 25% of the world's inmates. Something is fundamentally wrong. And too many of them look like me and look like you. Too many Black people locked up. And too often for nothing. Crimes they didn't commit. Okay, we got a signal.
Can you hear me now?
I can.
Oh, it's always great when people can hear you, you know. But again, I just want to thank you for doing the work that you do. You know, when you talk about a purpose, your purpose is a definite purpose in terms of what you've done over the years. Be More News is just an iconic news group. And what I think many people don't understand when we talk about iconic things is that, you know, what's next? You know, you've been doing this for so long and you've been connecting people from across the globe. In your book, I Am Black Wall Street, it's a phenomenal book. It's a book of a journey of a people who were, and I want to say it in a light way, a kind of a light way, that was basically erased in terms of their economy, in terms of where they were headed. When you begin to talk about Black people and the 1.4 or 5 trillion dollars that we amass in this country, many times we as Black people don't understand that because we're so busy in the minutia of doing things, you know, basketball, football, entertainment, and then of course drugs and crime. And what happens while all of those things are going on, other nationalities are utilizing our wealth by us spending the dollar. We as a group here, and you know, I say here because, you know, it's a perpetual thing that we spend money only 6 hours in our community, while other nationalities spend more than a month of time, or sometimes either 6 months or even a year of their money in their communities to build our community. Black Wall Street was about family. And as the family has been torn apart, you know, Black men on one side, Black women on another side, and no family in the middle, where's the money? And when you begin to talk about purpose, I think it's always great when I get an opportunity to come and, you know, just talk to you and your audience about Black business.
Very important. America is a republic. It's a democratic republic. Constitution, presidential elections, but we're also big on free trade.
Mm-hmm.
We're big on business. We're big on capitalism. We're big on this is the land where anybody can get rich if you have a plan, if you have a team, if you have a support system, and if you have discipline. If getting rich is your ultimate goal. Because after you get rich, There's another challenge, and that's keeping it, maintaining it. So that's when you get your accountants come into play, your lawyers come into play. You know, you set up a trust, and then you set up another trust, and this is what people with money, what they do on a regular basis. They move money around. They try to, you know, protect it. I'm gonna say hide it, but they try to hide it. Donald Trump, I don't know that he's ever paid taxes. How do we become more business minded as a people?
Well, the first thing that we must begin to do is to understand network connections. You know, many times we are spending our time building our communities, and we're building our communities by ourselves. And sometimes we don't collaborate with other organizations. Sometimes we don't even join other organizations. And if we want to continue to build businesses, we have to build communities. And that community has to be a global community. It was always great when you talked about Marcus Mosiah Garvey earlier, one of my heroes, who led a movement that was larger than most movements that has ever happened in North America. But the interesting thing about that is that there's a bigger movement for all of us when we look out and connect with other organizations around the world. Being a global marketplace for connections is something that we don't think about as Black people many times. As COVID hit us, you know, all of a sudden we were pushed out, as I call the bottle, and the bottle of our circular communities. And in those communities, what happened, the new communities, what happened, we got a chance to meet new people. And right now there is a push to push us back into the bottle, to go back into our ring of people, where in reality, other nationalities, other people have been out in this global economy for years. And so if we want to build businesses, if you want to build communities, we have to start, shouldn't say start, but we have to begin to be global thinkers, as the global marketplace gives us opportunities to meet each other around the world. That's how we met, Donnie. We met because of the pandemic. Before the pandemic, I didn't know you, you didn't know me. Before the pandemic, I didn't know some of the people that you know, that you introduced me to, and you have introduced me to a wealth of great people, as we continue to build this global marketplace.
Big ups to Marsha Jews for solidifying our connections. Dr. Kelly, some time ago, you started the Black Business Olympics. Tell us about it.
Well, we started the Black Business Olympics because there was a void there. There was a consequence there that Black people were everywhere. And really, we were nowhere, because if you're not together, you truly are nowhere. And so the Black Business Olympics started right at the pandemic, when we were looking at how people were networking around the globe and what was going on. It was COVID-19, and everybody was home. And me and my moms were having a conversation about what we were going to do. Many times when I have this conversation, nobody talks about the Black Business Olympics, Haiti and Durham. Nobody talks about what I call the backdrop of how all these things happen. We started the Black Business Expo back in the 90s. And from the 90s to the, as I call it, the 2000s, we were doing an event that was bringing Black people together. The Black Business Olympics was created to give Black businesses an opportunity to look at themselves and create something in terms of business. Because when you don't do business, you're just the product, or as they say, the consumer. And so the Black Business Olympics started in 2020, and we put together 7 days, 12 hours a day of business owners talking about seven different themes. Monday, which is empowerment. Tuesday is advertising, marketing, public relations. Wednesday is social media. Thursday is diversity, equity, inclusion. Friday, we do Generation X, Generation Z. And then, of course, Saturday, Black Business and the Culture, and Sunday Black Business and Innovation. And so this idea that we started was built on the backbones of the Sojourner Truths, on the backbones of the Martin Luther Kings, on the thoughts of the Marcus Garveys, the W.B. Du Boises, and all of the great leaders that led before us. And so the Black Business Olympics, which people can see right now because we're live 24 hours right now on bxtv.org. And so that's what we started in our app that we introduced to the community years ago. Right now, we're doing some amazing things as we continue to push the brand of Black business. And Doni, I want to say something about Black business, the brand, because many times you hear about Coca-Cola, Pepsi-Cola, all of these companies, and there's nothing said when you push their brand. And so what we have planned with a strategic idea of pushing Black business, the brand, and that's all that we push, Black business, the brand.
I love Black businesses. I love Black Wall Street. You know, as I learned about what happened in Tulsa, Oklahoma, I got to tell you, the Gap Band comes to mind. You dropped the bomb on me, baby. You know, we're so into entertainment. Charlie Wilson was giving us a history lesson early on. A lot of us missed it. I missed it. But then it all started to come together. Tulsa, Oklahoma. And you find out Oklahoma had oil.
Mm-hmm.
Then you learn about a Sarah Rector, the richest Black girl in the world.
Mm-hmm.
A descendant of oil barons, Black oil barons in Oklahoma. And then you learn about, like in my book, Chief John Horse, because Chief John Horse, they came out of Florida. They were the first Blacks to settle in Oklahoma in 1843. And this all started with, you dropped the bomb on me. And the more I went digging, the more I was fascinated at all of the Black history that we have been denied. It's been hidden. It's been set over there. And we got to reconnect. And that's a part of my mission, is reconnecting us with the facts, with the truth. For instance, I got to share this. When Trayvon Martin got killed by George Zimmerman, the murderer, down in Florida, Sanford, Florida, I swore to God, I know we ain't supposed to swear to, I swore I would never, ever, 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 ever go to Florida again in my life. But then the history kept taking me back to Florida. Come to find out, Florida was a bastion of freedom. Florida wasn't owned by the United States originally. It was owned by Spain up until 1831. So that meant if you look like me and you got that pretty brown skin, and you happen to have a chain on you, and you trying to get up out of there, if you get over there to Florida, your ass will be free. Didn't know that.
Well, you know something else that you've said, many times when you start talking about Black Wall Street, and we begin to look at our future, that many times as we look at Florida and some of these other states, we are being erased.
They're trying to. They can't.
Without a doubt,
how can you erase your parent, dum-dum?
You're absolutely right. And one of the things that we're doing with the Black Business Olympics is in February, we're doing a literary edition where we're going to honor authors, publishers, and we're going to have agents and people who write books and to speak on our platform for 7 days. In addition, with the business show that we do, so we have a strategy of building this to 365 days live, because, and I say live because what happens when we just send out videos? People look at them here and there. No real energy there. And
Let me.
so
I got to tell you, the ink pen has opened more doors for me as a journalist than all of the television in the world. All of the radio. I've done television. I've done radio. Done it. National, international. This right here.
that's a live event. That's a Donnie. That's a live event. When you put paper to pen, that's a live event. And then you send that information to someone, that's a live event. One of the reasons that we do the Black Business Olympics is we want to connect people across the globe, Black people across the globe. And the challenge of connecting Black people across the globe don't exist. The only thing that keeps us from connecting Black people across the globe is ourselves, because the apparatuses and the information has already been here. We just have not used it. And with the
because we busy doing dances on TikTok.
Oh yeah. And when you sit here and talk about a TikTok and you talk about Binance and you really look at what Binance really is doing, and TikTok being one of their companies, they're all over the world, and sometimes you want to talk about, how can we be all over the world? We have to begin to look at Yes, but
we're just not
engaged
as in control of our product.
Yes, engaged
as we could be. And I will tell you, one of the major products, laugh at me if you will, is hip hop.
Well, not only is hip hop a major product, when you look at luxury items and you look at what's going on in this country, you will see that we spend the money. Okay, we're the major consumer, but at the end of the day, we have to change that with the changing of the times. AI is here. The metaverse appeared. How many people utilize the metaverse to be a part of the economic structure of the metaverse, blockchain, and those things? Why don't we have a Black business AI that deals directly with how Black businesses do Black business? Because we're interesting. I don't want to say organization.
A peculiar people.
Yes, a peculiar people who, when we are allowed to really think, we come up with some great things. There's a guy in Africa who created a apparatus that allows for lighting up and lighting up your home with radio waves. Now, when he came to America, he almost got assassinated. They would one thing they would not patent his idea. They would not give him a patent. And you have to sit back and say, well, why wouldn't they give him a patent? Well, you got the electric.
Because he was coming with something that would have disrupted what they already have
in place. And so think about me and you.
Did they kill the Cash App? Did they kill the Cash App guy? The founder of Cash App.
He's no longer with us.
Yeah. Then the government come out with their own Cash App.
Well, and while we're having that conversation, we have to begin to understand there's a guy in Africa who created the way to get water from air. Okay, the reason I brought both of these people up is, how would we know about them if, in fact, we just sit in our own ring, in our own states, and not out globally?
So you speak to a very important issue. You look at the British Empire. A lot of people don't know Australia. The original people in Australia, the Aborigines, darker than you and me, straight hair. Some of them, like in the Solomon Islands, have blonde hair. A whole mass of people, brown skin, blonde hair. They are people. They are people of the darker hue, the original man. But we've been taught or mistaught, misinformed that they are not our brothers. But we have the same common enemy, whatever you want to call Britain, but they were enslaving people all over the world. Australia, China, India, for the sake of the British Empire. Britain is America's #1 ally. Britain, US, Israel. So then we have to start putting on our thinking caps like they told us back in elementary school, and we have to start forming our own opinions. So when you look at what happened on October 7th in the Gaza Strip, you have the ability to make an intelligent determination like, oh, given this, and that, these people right here are wrong. And then this country's role in it is also suspect. And then you look at the other allies. We also need to know about BRICS. BRICS is coming about. BRICS, BRICS. Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa. There are a number of alliances being formed. So therefore, we as a black people need to get in touch with this thing right here. It's called the globe, baby. We need to know where our allies are, because our allies are not necessarily their allies. Like when you look at the Palestinians, conscious people know they are the black people of the Middle East. So we may have a different, I still can't get over the National Newspaper Publishers Association. They may never make me a member, but I'm okay with it. As soon as that thing hit in Israel, the leader of it, Ben Chavis Muhammad, came out immediately and made a pro-Israel statement. Now, I'm not knocking his pro-Israel statement, but what about these 20,000 Palestinians who have been killed, black man, and you got a Muslim name? And so we have been handcuffed. Bob Marley talked about the mental slavery, our inability to think for ourselves. We don't know about Ralph Bunche. We don't know that Ralph Bunche was back negotiating peace between the Jews and the Muslims decades ago. A black man from America. We don't know our role internationally. We think we know about Reginald F. Lewis. He had headquarters in France. We think we know about Matthew Henson. He founded the North Pole.
And one of the other things that's really sad, as I listen to you talk about what's going on in the world, we don't even take care of ourselves, period, in our own nation of black people. You know, one of the things that must happen, we need to understand that we have power in our money and all over the world, but we got to connect that money. We have to connect black people to other black people.
Well, that's what I'm saying. We've been taught to hate our brothers in Africa, and we don't even know. Before we even meet them, we have an attitude, we have an opinion about Nigerians. Nigerians can be aggressive, but they also can be communicated with. They can be talked to. And maybe they want to know that we understand that they're the largest group of black people on the continent, over 200 million. And the major tribes are Igbo, Edda, Eka, Hausa, and Yoruba. Many of us are descendants of the Yoruba, but we are so disconnected from Africa. I ain't no African. We know more about Tarzan than we know about Tanzania, South Africa, Liberia, Sierra Leone.
Again, we must begin to understand what you're saying. I think many times leaders like you and I, who are out here doing the work, many times we see the vision of what can be, but many times our black people, they are not interested in seeing what can be because they are following the follower. they're following somebody who's saying that they are superior to them in thought, in superior to them in ideas, and we don't sit there and say, why? Why are you superior? It's not about superiority. It's about a nation of people. We all are humans, but until we stand up in our rightful place, we're going to continue to be miseducated. We'll be continue to get what I call the last dollar after they send money to everybody else out of this country. We have to understand that the power is in the numbers, and I keep saying some way we have to get off of this. We are not as powerful as we could be as being a community, and that's why we're building the Black Business Olympics. That's why we're doing Black business all over the globe.
What role does spirituality play in all of this? As I'm listening to you, the Bible verse comes to mind. If my people who are called by my name, okay, thank you. If my people who are called by my name shall humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from our wicked ways, then will we hear from heaven, then will I heal the land. What role does spirituality and the church even play in this metamorphosis, this transformation that's going from a you know, what happens in the cocoon, from a caterpillar to a butterfly? What role does the word, does the faith of our fathers, of our forefathers, of our grandmothers and great grandmothers who read that Bible, who sang those songs, I know it was the blood that saved me, touched the hem of his garment. What role does the spiritual play in our transformation?
Well, spirituality is very key and critical in our healing, in our revealing what must happen. One thing about spirituality is there are different, I don't talk much about it, but there are different ideas about spirituality. There are different spiritual, what I call sets all over the world, and then there are spirituality that continues to push Black people down and keep Black people to think that they're inferior. And so when we begin to talk about spirituality, I always lean to the four things that I work hard not talking about. One is spirituality, because we don't know in a global marketplace what the spirituality of everybody. We don't know, when you talk about Buddha, when you talk about these different spiritual concepts, you have to ask yourself, why are they there? Are they there to raise us up, or are they there to keep us down? The other day, my moms and I were going to South Carolina, and I'm in North Carolina, and many times I just don't think about South Carolina or another state that you travel into, because you're so busy doing what you're doing. And I rode into South Carolina, and the first thing that I saw when I went into a store was a guy with a Confederate flag across his chest. And he walked proudly with that Confederate flag across his chest. And then as I drove, hold on.
You lost.
No, I'm not lost. And then
No. The Confederates lost.
Yeah, they're lost. And this is the only country there, when you lose, you still can act like you won.
Loser.
And then when I drove through South Carolina, there was this huge Confederate flag flying up in the air. And at that moment, I said to myself, I want to get out of South Carolina.
Damn right.
I don't want to be in South Carolina. And I think when we begin to talk about the religion, when we begin to talk about politics, and we begin to talk about sexism, and we begin to talk about these things, it's a distraction from what we really need to be talking about, and that is the survival and the connection of Black people across the globe. Because when you begin to talk about connecting people across the globe in business and in sharing money, then can you make a change, because nobody is giving Black people reparations. Nobody, we bombed a country, and then gave them reparations because we bombed them. The
Japan.
The Confederates, even after they let slaves go, they got reparations. We're the only people, the only great people who never get anything because we don't demand it. And when I talked about earlier about banning and erasing our history in places like Florida, in other places, we're the only group who don't say we need to sue these governments and sue these people because they're saying that American history is not Black history. And when we continue to allow other people to just push us aside while immigrants come and pile on top of our struggle, we're going to continue not to reap the benefits of being humans on this planet.
What's the shot of hope, Dr. Kelly?
Well, you know, that question right there is probably the question of the day. What is the shout of hope? How can we change it? What do we need to do about changing it? One of your listeners this morning did a comment, and that comment said that we need to begin to change the minds of the young people. We need to start when they are 5 and 6 years old so they can understand what's getting ready to go on as they grow, you know. And when you say what is the shout of hope, the shout of hope is our kids, not our youth, because our youths have been transformed into what I call council culture. They have been transformed into what I call telling on everything that's going on. We have to begin to look at our young kids at 4 and 5 years old and sit them down and have conversations about what's going on, not just here in America, but all over the world. Our kids have apparatuses and have phones and iPads, and they're able to look out into that what I call that abyss of the unknown of people all over the globe. We must begin to sit down and have that conversation now, because the mechanism that's put in place to continue to brainwash or to continue to get us to think like people want us to think is here every day, 24 hours a day. When you talked about Ben Chavis, you know, making a remark about something that really doesn't deal with Black people in America. When you talk about advertisers who we only get 1.9% of the advertising dollar in this country. When you
why are we begging a people who have repeatedly shown us who they are? Why do we want to be their friend? You're not my friend. My friends don't stab me in the back. My friends don't rape me. My friends don't rob me. My friends don't put me in precarious situations. That's not a friend. Why am I chasing your friendship when it's really hatred?
Because if you pay attention to what's put before me and how I am groomed every day to follow another race of people, that's why. This is one of the things, and I'm glad
I think that was Cat Williams' point on his special.
Oh, and that was a great special. You know, he talked about a lot of great things.
But he also talked about us doing for self. So often, still in 2024, we as a people, Black people, think the white man's ice is colder. We get put in position, whether it's president, governor, mayor, council person, and we get into these positions, and all of a sudden, we get new.
And that goes back to what we were discussing earlier.
The same brother that I remember from over here on the strip, and now you've been elevated by the good Lord to this position. White people even expect you to do something for your people, but you got this mentality, I ain't doing nothing for them. You caught up with something from junior high school.
Well, you got to look at what they're caught up into. You know, I still call it the master mentality. You know, and what I mean by that is you get a job.
Get no points for that.
Yeah, we know that. We know that. But when a person gets a job, he gets to buy another car, he gets to buy another house, he gets to live in
They
another
come
state.
and they go.
And when you do that and you don't think about your people, you know, one thing I want
Shame
to say,
on you. Shame on you.
but we can't, my thing is we can't worry about those people. We can't carry those people on our backs.
But they are gatekeepers too often, Dr. Kelly. These people have become gatekeepers. And instead of having the mentality of a Harriet Tubman, Araminta Ross, who went back and freed 70-some slaves, but with the help of the Union Army, she freed 800 slaves down by the Combahee River in that very wicked state you just talked about, South Carolina.
Well, the thing that
with the help of the Union Army, I should add.
Yep. Well, the thing that I work on, and I hear you, and I feel the pressure, I feel the pain of our people every day. But the thing that I work on more than worrying about all of these factions that we can't bring along, they're not going to come. You know, our
Marcus
young people.
Garvey did it.
Yeah, and that's what we're doing with creating a connection of Black people across the globe. It's a difference. It's you cannot get people to go where you're not going. And as I said before, if you're programmed to
we on
that
TikTok,
person, if you're programmed to be that person,
we on TikTok.
Why worry? I can't take TikTok with me. But what I can do is I can work on getting people to come together and do business together all over the globe and change the mindsets of our youth so that our youth can do something about the real change. You know, the whole thing about us continuing getting shot in the streets and being discriminated against is a part of our problem. If we only understood that we represented enough money to be inclusive in our own communities and serve our own communities, then many of these things that go on against us would not happen. But as I said before, when you're trained every day, when you're taught every day with news and television and rap music, because if you remember, and both of us remember back in the day when rap music first started, it was the hip hop. It was all about love. It was all about us being together. And if you look at rap today, you look at rap shooting, killing, and stabbing. Okay, who's listening to it and who's reacting to it? And how does that impact money in our pockets?
What's next for you, Dr. Kelly?
Well, I know we got a few minutes, and I appreciate you saying that. There are three things that's next for us. The Black business brand is our number one mission, and that is to be the Black business brand for Black business all over the globe. That is our first step. Our second step is to continue to do the Black Business Olympics. And as I said before, we're doing a literary piece attachment. We're going to move from literary to art piece, and then we're looking at what the fourth dimension is going to be. You know, I don't want to do entertainment, but I'm being pushed to do entertainment. I want to continue to I want to push for innovation as our third piece, because, you know, me and you have sat here and we've talked about all these great things that are going on, but we are not talking about enough about AI, what AI is doing.
I love AI. Matter of fact, we are working on a project now that involves AI that will set this whole network apart.
Well, and that is
the wave of the future. And if we don't embrace it, you know, when I go to AI, I want to be able to get information about Black people. And I figure the only way that AI will have this information about Black people, I don't mean to stand in Martin Luther King, Rosa Parks stuff. I'm talking about Shaka Zulu. I'm talking about Luzia down in Brazil. I'm talking about the first Black man to come to America who was not a slave, His name was Juan Garrido. He was a Spanish conquistador. I'm talking about the Moors who dominated the Iberian Peninsula for 800 years just prior to Christopher Columbus coming to America and raping and killing and stealing. I'm talking about our history that we've been denied.
Yeah, but there's still questions in the minds of historians whether or not Christopher Columbus ever came to America.
I don't think he ever did.
That is another story in itself, and that is the impetus.
But wherever he went, we know he was a rapist and a thief.
And that is the things that we as black men have to begin to look at. Okay, how do we connect the dots? And that's why I think what you're doing with Black USA News is so important, not only to me, but to the world. You know, each and every morning you come in and you have these dynamic conversations with people who are looking to hear different information. You got to understand, when I said before that we are being mentally controlled by media and by what we do each day that keeps us apart, you continue to step on the envelope of change. And that is just so important in terms of where we go and how we get there. And that's what it's about for me, is to connect all of the dots. When you look at your faceplate and you see the dots on your faceplate, the black USA dots on your faceplate, that really represents us all over the globe. When you understand that 10% of the people on the globe are not looking like you, and you begin to cultivate that other 90% to understand that the power is with connecting each dot, that is the most powerful thing that we can do. Whether people are the same religious background, political background, or sex background, you have to understand that these dots must be connected. And the only way that these dots can be connected is with people like you, with people like me, and other people who are working to connect the dots all over the globe. Everybody talks about it, but who actually does it? And you're one of the people who actually do it. And not only do we need to celebrate what you do, we need to get on board with what you do and continue to support you, as we have to support those who support the missions, the dreams, and the goals that we all have.
What role do you see HBCUs playing in the evolution, the development of AI?
Well, one of the things about AI,
I mean, you're down there where the Aggies at, right?
No, yes, the Aggies are here, but there's still the greatest university in the world is here, North Carolina Central University, the Eagles. I had to throw a plug for my alma mater, which was the HBCU. But we have to get them involved in AI. You know, I'm talking to some people down in Trinidad who started a university, and they're working on the whole AI piece. But what happens to us is we listen to stuff like the machines are going to take over. The machines are going to destroy humanity. The machines are going to do this, and the machines are going to do that. And then we miss why we even entertain that idea. We miss it because we're listening to what somebody else is saying, and we're not looking at what we actually bring to the table to everything that we do. When I talked about the gentleman earlier with the apparatus of turning on lights and turning on heat and doing it with radio waves, he didn't have no formal, think about it, no formal education to do this. He thought about it, and created. If we could get our Black people to understand that our minds are so powerful, until not only can we go into AI and create a different world for Black people, we can create something more powerful than AI. And that has always been the traditional problem with the Black mind, is that somebody has to control our minds. Think about it for a moment as we talk about Black Wall Street in Oklahoma. Why was Black Wall Streets all over the world destroyed? Well, because we were going up the ladder of progress so fast until we had to be stopped. We had to be controlled. And with those things being said about us as a people, we have to understand that integration, and I don't want to get on that because we don't have time to talk about it.
Integration killed us.
Killed us, destroyed us. But when you
because
look
we're
at
so busy chasing somebody else's dream, and if you want to be with that sister, you better go ahead out there in that county, boy, and buy that big old house. Because if you don't, that other dude will. Meanwhile, we got this mentality of chasing something, and the white people coming back to your old neighborhood and buying up your house.
And we have got to get to innovation now.
We go for the 50 fake out. We go chasing waterfalls, and then the white people come back to our old neighborhoods and buy the houses that we were raised in.
We have to send this message out today. When you ask the word hope,
what's the shout of hope?
The shout out of hope is innovation. We have to immerse ourselves into innovation right now as a group of people. We have to stop being afraid of things that we don't know, because
and learn them. Go to school, take a class. I'm back in school. I'm in school now. Thank God. Oh, hallelujah.
But you know what the funny part about it is? Everybody is afraid of innovation. It's not just us. Everybody is afraid of it. So what you're getting is people that are jumping in and who are controlling and setting up the future for everybody, and we are not a part of that. And that's something that we must do. We must get in, or we will again be consumers of and become the product of just being the product. And that's what it's all about.
I'm gonna tell you something else. We also the moral conscience. We are the moral conscience of America and of the world.
Of the world.
Let me help you out. Right now, there are various countries going to the moon, digging up samples. Why are we digging up the moon? We should not be digging up the moon. So a part of our job, remember we had Black Panthers and all of that back in the 60s? We have a new task, and it's to take a person like Elon Musk. I know he has a lot of money, but we need to forget about that lot of money and take him out back to the woodshed and put a stick on his ass. Why are you digging up the moon? Don't touch the moon. If we don't speak up, we will allow these idiots to destroy the very universe. I bet you they won't go up there messing with the sun.
Well, again, I think our biggest challenge
might sound outlandish, but
our biggest challenge as a people right now on this planet is dealing with us as a people.
Look at the weather. Look at the weather. Dude, we grew up this time of year, it was snow. It was cold. We have destroyed the environment so much, people are wearing shorts in January.
But Doni, think about it like this for a minute, and I'm going to help you out.
Come on.
If in fact, we as a group of Black people would join together and think about these things to change these things, we actually could change these things. It's not you got to realize, when I talked about this young man who's doing stuff with radio waves, and that thought process of creating just that idea, if we as Black people could begin to think about creating a different kind of world for ourselves, then all of these things that we talk about will change. We spend more time worrying about what Elon Musk is doing, what Bill Gates is doing, what Amazon's CEO is doing, but we don't spend time thinking about what in the world are we as Black people doing for ourselves? How are we changing the world? I think that is the impetus that we must begin to look at, because when we begin to look at that and begin to change it on that level, it does what it's always have done.
We need
It
our own
changes.
we need a black social media. We need one that does not censor black people over the petty things that these trifling gatekeepers find offensive. Because I know my history, now you're offended because your ancestor was a slave owner. You're now embarrassed and you don't want to teach your granddaughter that she is a descendant of a racist and she should probably get some mental health treatment to make sure she doesn't turn out to be a racist.
And we need some mental health treatment, because you got to understand, when
Black
slavery
people
ended,
need it. Clearly black people need it. But if black people get the mental health treatment and white people don't get it, we right back to square one.
well, it begins to be what it's always been.
And I mean
When we,
racist white people.
yeah, but when we get the treatment and then we understand what the mission is, and the mission is to save humanity, then everything changes, because we all are human. You know, my grandmother used to say that, you know, racism is an act, you know, but humanity is the world. And we got to get back to our humanity. And when we get back to our humanity as a people, then we're able to do greater things. And that is really what it's about for me. You know, because it's easy for me and you to talk about how we are being pushed aside. It's easy to talk about.
You're gonna push me aside. I refuse to be pushed to the side. You're not going to be pushed to the side. You're talking about some other people. We're not being pushed to the side. We pushing, if anything, we pushing people to the side. Get in my damn way.
Before we get out of here, I know it's 4 minutes. The Black Business Olympics has been going on for the last 4 years. We are doing every two weeks this year. We are out here to collaborate with business owners from all over the world. And as we close out, I just want you to think about this for a moment. What are you doing? What are you doing in your community? Who are the kids in your community that you're reaching out to and changing the world with? If you get an opportunity, go to our network, bxtv.org, and see what we're working on. I am sure that you will see, as we have seen over the course of the years and the days, that it's possible for change. It's possible for us to do something together. And as we look at our event that's coming up and our broadcast that's coming up, you get an opportunity to do an infomercial about your business. And that infomercial is 40 minutes about your business to the globe. Many people talk about being a global system, a global marketplace. But we have business owners from all over the globe speaking on our network. That's what makes us global. I want you to hear that again. We have people speaking from Singapore, from Africa, from the United States, from UK, from the United Kingdom, from Brazil. We have people speaking from Australia. So that gives us a global footprint that you should enjoy. So as we continue to look at speakers from all over the globe to speak on our network, get in contact with us. You can email us if you want to speak at BBX Speakers 1. That's BBX Speakers 1 at gmail.com to be a speaker on our platform. But even if you don't want to be a speaker, just type in bxtv.org, bxtv.org, and see what the Black business brand is about. Not the Black business world, but the Black business brand is all about. And I truly want to thank you, Doni, for giving me the opportunity to come on your platform. And anytime you need me, young man, anytime.
I need you real quick. I need you to explain the painting behind you.
It's not a painting. It's a piece that shows the root. And when the root dies, then the flower dies. And so we are the root, and we must continue to build on life. And when the root dies, then we die. That's what that piece is all about.
Good deal. Dr. Eric Kelly, we love and appreciate you. Do tell your moms hello for us. My name's Doni Glover for BlackUSA.News. Good morning, world.